We live in an era where reading is encouraged at every moment. Even with the rise of new digital tools, the sale and consumption of physical books continue to grow. But do we ever question what we are truly bringing into our lives when we open the pages of certain works? In today's video, we won't be discussing common books. We will explore 5 works that, beyond challenging the mind, could threaten your very soul. What if I told you that some of these books not only left a mark but also haunted their readers? Works so dangerous that they were banned, cursed, and even burned in the fires of fear and superstition. Get ready, because today we will delve into the dark depths of the most dangerous books in history. Books that transcend physical or psychological danger and touch the spiritual, awakening forces that many prefer not to provoke. There's a popular saying, never judge a book by its cover. And, indeed, in many cases, this maxim may hold true. But, there are books that, from the very title, emanate a sinister aura, warning of the dangers lurking within their pages. 1. The Satanic Verses, by Salman Rushdie, written by an author of Indian and Muslim origin. This fiction book dares to touch on the sacred verses of the Quran, making it extremely controversial and, for many, blasphemous. But what truly haunts this work? After its publication in 1989, Iranian leader Ayatollah Khomeini issued a fatwa condemning Rushdie to death. From that moment on, not only the author's life but the life of anyone who dared to read and understand the book's content was at risk. And this raises a question. Could a book have the power to condemn a soul, dragging it into the depths of heresy? But Rushdie was not merely writing a work of fiction. He was challenging the boundaries of faith and freedom of expression, provoking a direct confrontation with the deeply rooted beliefs of millions. And that is why The Satanic Verses is seen as one of the most dangerous books ever written, not just for its words but for the power they wield in challenging the very concept of faith. 2. Book of Soyga, or Genealogy of Angels. Now, let's go back a few centuries to an era where science, magic, and religion mixed in a bubbling cauldron of mysteries and dangers. Picture yourself in Elizabethan England, where a brilliant man, a true genius in mathematics, astronomy, and astrology, dedicated his life to unraveling the secrets of the universe. His name was John Dee, a man who, besides his academic talents, delved deeply into occult studies, seeking communication with the angels themselves. In his vast library, there was a book that stood out, a manuscript that Dee believed had been revealed by celestial beings. This book, known as the Book of Soyga, or Genealogy of Angels, was a compendium of mystical knowledge that no one, not even Dee, could fully decipher. It is said that this book contains disturbing secrets about demonology, magical enchantments, and astrology so complex that only the Archangel Michael could fully understand them. Dee spent much of his life trying to unravel its mysteries, believing that through it, he could attain supreme knowledge and a direct connection with the divine. But perhaps the greatest mystery is the disappearance of the Book of Soyga itself. After Dee's death, the book vanished from his vast library, only to reappear centuries later, in 1994, when 2 copies were found. To this day, scholars continue to try to decipher its complex codes, but the secrets it holds seem to resist any human attempt at understanding. Perhaps some secrets are meant to remain hidden. 3. Mein Kampf, or My Struggle, by Adolf Hitler. Now, let's move forward to the 20th century, a period marked by one of the darkest events in human history, the rise of Nazism and World War II. In this context, one of the most infamous and dangerous books ever written emerges, Mein Kampf, or My Struggle, by Adolf Hitler. Written while Hitler was imprisoned, the book is an ideological work that foreshadows the atrocities he would later commit. In its pages, Hitler outlines his extremist ideas of anti-Semitism and racism, preaching the superiority of the Aryan race and the need to eradicate those he considered inferior, especially the Jewish people. This book is not just a story of hate, it is a guide to destruction. It became the Bible of Nazism, inspiring millions to blindly follow an ideology of death and suffering. And what is more disturbing, even after the fall of the Nazi regime, Mein Kampf continues to be influential reading among neo-Nazi groups around the world, perpetuating a legacy of hatred and violence. But what makes this book so dangerous? It is not just the explicit content but the power it still holds to corrupt minds, turning thoughts into horrific actions. It is a grim reminder of how words, when used with malice, can destroy entire civilizations. 4. The Grand Grimoire. And if you think we've seen enough, brace yourself for one of the most controversial and feared books in history, the Grand Grimoire. Dating back to the 16th century, this book is considered the pinnacle of black magic texts. A work that not only teaches how to summon demons but also how to make pacts with Lucifer himself. The Grand Grimoire is a manual of dark powers, detailing rituals that, according to legend, even Satanist leaders wouldn't dare perform. Why? Because they knew the risks were too great, that the powers invoked could escape human control and drag the soul of the summoner into eternal damnation. This book, coveted by the most ambitious practitioners of magic, was so feared that, according to reports, the Vatican took extreme measures to collect and hide the only true copy in its secret archives. Today, copies of the Grand Grimoire can be found in specialty bookstores, but many believe that the true power of this work remains locked away, far from curious eyes and reckless hands. 5. Necronomicon by Abdul Alhazred. Now we arrive at the book that, for many, is the most terrifying of all, the Necronomicon. This book, whose existence is widely debated, is shrouded in mystery and legends that blur the line between reality and fiction. Originally called Al-Azif, and written by the Arab poet Abdul Alhazred around the year 700, this book supposedly contains knowledge of magic, invocations, and enchantments so powerful that they can drive readers insane. According to legend, Alhazred spent years in the desert, isolated, where he supposedly communicated with cosmic entities and demons. In its pages, the Necronomicon warns that its reading can cause nightmares, horrifying visions, and even lead to madness. Alhazred himself is said to have met a tragic and mysterious fate, torn apart by invisible forces in broad daylight. But the story of the Necronomicon doesn't end there. Howard Phillips Lovecraft, the famous horror writer, brought this book into popular culture in 1921 when he mentioned it in his story, The Nameless City. Since then, the Necronomicon has fascinated and haunted readers around the world, but does it really exist? Or is it merely a creation of Lovecraft's mind? Whatever the truth may be, the myth of the Necronomicon makes it one of the most dangerous and intriguing reads of all time. And so we conclude our journey through some of the most dangerous books in history. Books that, when read, could not only change your worldview but also put your very soul at risk. These are texts that challenge understanding, provoke fear, and stir anxiety in ways that few others can. But what about you? Would you dare to open the pages of any of these books? Or do you believe that some knowledge is better left forgotten? Leave a comment on which of these books you think is the most dangerous, or if there is another book you believe deserves to be on this list. And before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We have many more dark mysteries to explore together. In the next video, we will uncover 2 signs missing before Jesus returns. You won't want to miss this revelation. Until then, stay alert and be careful with what you read. True wisdom may lie beyond the words.